With most people agreeing that the OnePlus brand peaked at around the 7 series of devices, I'm here to speak on why I think they've actually turned it around with this device here, the OnePlus 12, and how it is the best phone bang for your buck in 2024. I'm Iggy the Tech Guy, and I'm about to show you why I think it has what it takes. First off, we'll start off with the build quality of the OnePlus 12. And let me tell you guys, this device is built so good in my opinion. With this green model here, it is so amazing to look at with its marble finish, and although it does kind of feel plasticky when you rub it at times, I do think generally the build quality feels premium in the hand. When you hold it, it feels weighty, a bit weightier than the last year's OnePlus 11 in my opinion as well. So you are gaining a bit of weight. It does feel like a flagship premium device. And you can regularly find this device for under $700 for the 16GB 512 gig storage variant on Amazon. You can go ahead and pick that bad boy up for around that pricing, if not a little bit lower at times. And for that price, for what you're getting, this build quality holds up way better than you'd expect. People have kind of really taken it for granted that iPhones and Samsungs are dominating with their build quality, and while they do have amazing build quality, and I think the titanium on both of those devices holds up tremendously well, and you've got the anti-glare screen on that S24 Ultra, yes, those things make those devices feel rather premium in my opinion. This phone right here is no slouch in that department. It has a large circular camera bump on the back of the device, which does state millimeters of each focal length of the cameras. I personally do not think that they needed to put that on there. I just feel like a lot of brands want to showcase what they've got, and they wanted it to be a little bit more camera forward when they were trying to come back to a more pro device, as opposed to them kind of going premium mid-tier with the OnePlus 11 last year. It definitely shows through in flying colors that they came here to play the flagship game, and it is competitive in that regard. They did put the volume rocker and the power button on the same side this year, and they moved the mute ringer switch to the other side as opposed to the OnePlus 11 as well. So there is definitely some change. They kind of went more of a modern route, because I know Samsung does this with their devices, and a few other brands do as well. And it makes sense to put it all on one side, so when you're using it, it doesn't accidentally trigger the power button or the volume rockers respectively if you have it sideways or whatnot. It's just easier to control. So I understand why they did that, and it does bring it to a more premium feel, especially for people who are buying these devices and taking a look at these devices. I'm sure most people in the market, they're kind of looking at these devices as competition to Samsung and Apple and Google and all of those newer devices that have come out this year, because yes, the Samsung and the OnePlus 12 came out around the same time, and a lot of devices have come out since then, because we are heading into more of the Techtober months here as we go into the fall and winter and shopping season for people to purchase smartphones at a discount. This one is a great recommendation for its build quality. It feels, like I said, amazing in the hand. It feels weighty. You are not missing out on any of those premium feeling features as opposed to its more expensive counterparts. And as we turn around the device, and we're not just talking about the back, we can talk about that display. It is a beautiful 6.8-inch display, which does hit a peak of 4500 nits brightness, which would be a very niche number at 4500 nits if you were outside watching HDR content. That's when it hits those peak use cases. But for the most part, the screen is rather bright in the sunlight. It is readable. You can use the phone right in direct sunlight if you're outside midday, and you won't struggle much at all, especially if you keep auto brightness on it. It is going to push the display a little bit better than just using regular manual brightness. So keep that in mind for your use cases. If you do want the screen to go a little bit brighter while you're using it outdoors, put it on auto brightness so that it can sense how bright the sun is and reflect that to you guys respectively to hit those peak brightness levels that you so desire. There is a feature called Aqua Touch on the display, which if you use it is pretty impressive. Yes, it's not perfect. There are a few hiccups when you're using the device with water sprayed on the display, and it's occasionally going to open up an app that you don't want it to open up, or it's going to occasionally have a hiccup and not let you open something, and it's going to give some false touches. But if we're being extremely honest, it's impressive to me that you can use it at all, because I actually had my girlfriend spray some water on the OnePlus 11, so the display barely didn't even work. It had some false touches, and then it wouldn't let me do anything. I couldn't go home, do nothing when we sprayed it on the OnePlus 11. So when you compare that to the OnePlus 12 and how it actually holds up as far as that goes, it is tremendously better, like leaps and bounds better. And they're giving you this feature on the display that not a lot of devices even have. So when you see just a little bit of water gets on your fingers, your phone acts up and does all this crazy stuff. And that is very much evident even on a device like the OnePlus 11, so the previous device from the OnePlus 12. It's leaps and bounds better in that regard. So when we're talking display, yes, it's curved, and most people are preferring flat devices nowadays, like the Pixel devices and the Samsung devices, they're all going flat. The curved does give you some missed touches here and there, but for the most part, I haven't seen any major issues, especially after some updates. You're not really getting that many ghost touches or false touches, and them adding the extra feature of the Aqua Touch on top of this is just a cherry on top. I love the display on the OnePlus 12, and we have to realize that people are coming from other devices not more premium than the OnePlus 12 usually if they're upgrading to the OnePlus 12. So they haven't used a bunch of other devices that have symmetrical bezels and all that stuff because 9 times out of 10 they're coming from something much older. And I think that's what we need to do. Is a lot of these people are coming from the creative perspective, so they're getting all these devices in and they get to use every single device. And I even used a lot of these devices too, but in my opinion, this one holds up tremendously well. The fingerprint scanner inside the display, while it's only optical, is really fast and reliable. 9 times out of 10 it works for me. The Pixel 9 Pro XL does have a better fingerprint scanner, and so does the Samsung with their ultrasonic fingerprint scanners because it's more reliable. But all in all, the OnePlus 12's fingerprint scanner works for me majority of the time, and I've only had weird issues with it when I'm trying to touch it in a weird way when I grab my phone rather than a little bit more dead on. So I understand why in most use cases people like the ultrasonic, but when you think of everything as a whole in the display of the OnePlus 12, it is impressive to say the least. So the display as a whole is amazing when you think about the OnePlus 12 and all that it gives you, from its Aqua Touch to its resolution to its color reproduction to its nits. All of that stuff is a major go when it comes to the display and its build quality. But overall, the display on this device is no slouch. It definitely punches above its weight class, and for what it actually is technically in competition with, it blows them out of the water, and it's standing pretty much toe-to-toe with the Galaxy S24 Ultra and the iPhone in my opinion. In fact, I think it does better than the iPhone. I think that there are a few things that the S24 Ultra does have in its bag that are better than the OnePlus 12's display, but if you account for all the little extras that they keep throwing into these devices, like the 2160 Hz PWM dimming at the lowest brightnesses, that peak brightness I spoke of earlier, all of these things add up, and they're giving you a lot more for your money when it comes to a device that you're going to use in your day-to-day experience. So as far as build quality goes, this device is holding up more than adequately for you guys, and this is why it's one major contender for me for best phone of the year. Its build quality does not scream that it's less expensive than its premium counterparts. It really does not, especially when you're using it. You look at this beautiful display when you're watching content, when you're watching your YouTube videos or anything of that nature, or any movies and HDR content if you're watching Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime Video. All of those things are going to look beautiful on the display, and I think it holds up so good that it is indistinguishable from most other devices, if not a little bit better in some of the use cases. So when you think about the whole overall build of this phone, it is more than a major go here in 2024 going into 2025, and I think you would be very happy with how this device feels in your hand, how it feels to use the device. The buttons are rather clicky, everything about it build quality wise screams premium, and like I said, is a major go here in 2024, and that is pillar number one as to why I think it's best phone of the year. Next, we're going to talk about software and stability on the OnePlus 12. And yes, it is running Oxygen OS, and while in previous years, especially from the OnePlus 10 series, they went full color OS basically, they merged together, and it's pretty much the same software that you're going to get. And while it doesn't have all of those AI buzz features out of the gate, they are slowly adding in a few of those things into the gallery app and whatnot for you to use so that you don't feel like you're completely left out. And when we really think about all those AI features, those things are separate services and you can get them on different devices if need be. So AI is just a huge buzzword that they're trying to push on you in a new agenda to get your hard-earned cash month to month once all of that starts at the end of 2025 for Samsung. I think you only get about a year for the Pixels and Google's devices. So yes, those things are a ticking time bomb, and eventually those AI features, we're gonna see if people really care about them enough to pay for them monthly and if they're really gonna keep that model. OnePlus did not have to give you any of that. OnePlus did not try to boast that, did not try to push that on the forefront like everybody else is with their software. And while Oxygen OS has gotten a lot of hate, I want to say that it actually is super smooth on the OnePlus 12. There's a few little quirks here and there in the software experience that like other Android devices don't do, like certain swiping of notifications away in the top bar, the way that you have to click the music player and then click it again to get into things. And so there's just a little few extra steps that don't really make sense that you don't have on other devices. So it's a little confusing, but for the most part, the device itself on how it feels fluidity and stability wise, it holds up better than most devices in my opinion, including the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. That one does have a 4 Galaxy Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and this one does have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. They've built a Trinity engine for everything to feel smooth, just as if it's almost like they built the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for this device. So like I said, they keep giving you these little things on the device to really enhance the experience and make you feel like you have one of the smoothest devices on the planet. It's so snappy. Everything you do just melts together in your use, and you just feel like you don't even need to close any apps out. It has RAM for days, so it stores things back in memory for a long time. So if you're doing a bunch of stuff at once, if you're editing a video in KineMaster or even in CapCut while you're browsing Facebook and on Instagram or on Snapchat, and then you want to watch a video, you can do those things. There's a multitasking menu. There's all sorts of extra bits and features in this device with customizability in the settings that you could just go through to your heart's content. And this is what the true meaning of Android really is customization and making it your own. And iOS is trying to do that with iOS 18 finally, and giving a little bit of customizability to its users with iOS 18 and its dark mode icons and all that stuff, and customized icon colors and everything like that. This device allows you to do a majority of that, and since it's Android, you can actually download a third-party launcher. I use Nova Launcher personally, and that's my go-to. You can use the stock Oxygen OS launcher if you want to, and it can customize icons. There's all sorts of icon packs, icon resizing, all sorts of customizability options with Oxygen OS stock. But you also have the customizability of Android to download things from the App Store if you need to, which really just shows how good this device is. And even with Nova Launcher on the device that I have here, it runs smooth as butter. It opens up apps rather quickly. Things are loading into RAM really good, and I can go through all of the apps, open them up just as where they were when I last used them. And the whole experience with the software running Android 14 currently, it is going to be eventually updated to Android 15, and it's going to have 3 more updates after that, which I think for the landscape and how Android used to be is more than adequate for the price that you're paying for the device. Yes, Google and Samsung have committed to doing 7 years, but let's be honest with ourselves. How many people are using their devices for 7 years? Probably not many. It is great to have that, so just in the event that you decide that you're going to keep your device for almost over half a decade, then yes, that's great for them to have that, but most people are not keeping their devices for that long. So I think that OnePlus is being more than generous with their OnePlus 12 and its software update promises, to be honest. So when we're talking about it from a software standpoint, yes, Oxygen OS isn't stock Android, isn't what Google intended. It's so far left from what they used to be, and I do believe that I enjoyed the experience of like the OnePlus 7 Pro and Oxygen OS on that device back when it first dropped. But I think we need to give OnePlus some credit here in making a device that just works. It has all these little perks just like One UI does, and it gives you more than you'd actually need in terms of customizability and fluidity and stability, and everything works as it's intended. I have not had any hiccups or weird glitches or anything of the kind on my OnePlus 12 since I bought it, and I'm so impressed with this device that I was actually really impressed with my OnePlus 11. I did give it to my girlfriend so that she has OnePlus, and at first she was a little skeptical. She came from Samsung, and while she may eventually want to switch back to Samsung, right now she's super enjoying her OnePlus 11 experience, as I did when I had the OnePlus 11 myself, and I loved that device. I touted that device to everybody that I knew. I have a review on it on my channel praising the device because it's really awesome. But the OnePlus 12 is almost like a OnePlus 11 Pro. It brings you all of the extra features that a flagship truly has, where it was creeping its premium mid-ranger head out in little small areas with the OnePlus 11, where the OnePlus 12 doesn't do that. It actually feels like a flagship through and through with its operating system and everything as a whole. So pillar number 2 is a major go with software and stability on why I think it's a contender for Phone of the Year in 2024. Now let's talk about pillar number 3, cameras. Yes, the cameras on the OnePlus 12 are flagship grade. You do get 3 cameras. It does look like 4, but you do get the laser autofocus and the flash in one of the modules there. So it does feel a little bit deceiving to most people's eye, but there is a triple camera setup here. You're getting a main sensor, an ultra wide sensor, and then you're getting a telephoto sensor. And before I get too in depth with all that stuff, I wanted to shut up and show you guys some pictures. So as you can see, the OnePlus 12 is extremely versatile with what it can produce. I think it produces some of the best images I've seen this year from any devices, and I've played with pretty much all of them and taken photos with a lot of these devices out there. And for the most part, I just want to make a full disclosure, I have a Pixel 9 Pro XL in my possession, and I have taken photos with it, and while I do think that a lot of the photos I could get out of the Pixel 9 Pro XL are a bit better at times, the OnePlus 12 is so consistent for me. It takes really amazing pictures, especially after the updates that it has gotten over the time that I've had it. The pictures it produces are brilliant. They have excellent dynamic range, as you could see. That works really well in low light. It works well in every single use case that I threw at it, whether it be its main lens, its ultra wide lens with macro, its regular ultra wide lens photos, and its telephoto pictures, which it has a 3x optical zoom lens, but you can go up to 6x in the viewfinder. And if you hit that, you can get some amazingly solid pictures on the 6x zoom on this device. I was super impressed with what it was able to produce at 6x magnification, because it almost feels like you're taking a picture with a normal camera lens when you do that kind of stuff in certain use cases in good lighting. Even in semi-low lighting, I think it produced really well. And there's something that they didn't even really advertise, that you can go up to 120x zoom on this. So it does have a space zoom like Samsung has had for quite a few years now, and you can go up to 120x. You can zoom in, and you can even take pictures of the moon, as I showed you there. I was genuinely stunned with all the photos that I was able to capture with the OnePlus 12. And also video. I do want to throw in a few video clips for you guys to see. This is a little tidbit that I don't normally throw in, but I was so impressed with the OnePlus 12's video that I wanted to throw a couple clips in here for you.
Was that a wasp?
Oh no.
Bang! We're all sitting there chatting. Bang!
Just hit it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun. So right above us right now is a main road.
That's pretty good. Video on this one pretty good.
Oh my god, right.
What up?
Nothing. Just walking.
You just walking?
Yeah, that's walking. If this is gonna be in the video, hi. I know this is gonna be my dad's video. Like and subscribe.
Hey.
As you can see there, those clips showcase that the OnePlus 12 video is actually really good, and I think as a videographer myself that I would use this for some scenes if I needed to capture something quick, or if there's a certain scene that I thought would be better on my phone to capture with running gun or something like that. This device could capture that in spades, and it would be able to work into my workflow with my Sony camera and everything that I have with me. But yes, I was genuinely impressed with the pictures and the video that came out of this camera. It's another pillar as to why I think this phone is all around one of the best devices of 2024. So when it comes to cameras, the OnePlus 12 is a major go, and another pillar as to why it holds up to be the best bang for your buck, best device of 2024 for me, in my opinion. Next, we'll talk about battery and charging. Yes, the OnePlus 12 blows most devices out of the water with its battery and charging. It has a 5400 milliamp hour battery on board, and it has 80 watt fast charging. Both of those things combined give you over 9 hours of screen on time, and then when you need to top up, it takes about a half an hour to charge this bad boy. That is an insane spec sheet, let alone an actual use case that you can have throughout your day. It changes your charging habits ridiculously, where you don't really see yourself charging overnight or anything for that matter. You can just quickly top this bad boy up while you're going to take a shower, you're going to eat really quick, warm up some food. You can charge this thing and get a day's worth of battery out of it. I think that is crazy to think about, that I am so spoiled with OnePlus with how long they've been doing their fast charging. This is an 80 watt fast charger, a Super VOOC fast charger, and while they did switch back to USB Type A in the OnePlus 11 and the OnePlus 12 here, they did briefly switch to USB-C with the 10 series, which is unfortunate that they decided to re-switch back to Type A, but I'm only slightly nitpicking there. For the most part, you can get these cords on Amazon. You can do whatever you need to do to get a hold of these USB Type A cords, and they do provide it in the box for you. So you can't really complain for that, because most devices don't even provide a charger in your box anymore. And it's insane to me that they give you all this value for as little money you're actually paying for the device, is that they give you this charger in the box for you to experience out of the box. And not to mention that if you want to, you can purchase a wireless charger that charges at 50 watts. So it charges faster wirelessly than most devices charge wired. That is insane. It spoils you. Once you go OnePlus, you don't want to go back to other devices because your charging habits are a little bit different, and it's really noticeable when you're using like a Samsung series device or even a Pixel device, which only peaks at about 37 watts of fast charging. So yeah, like, it is the all-rounder best battery life I've experienced on a phone day to day, and the best charging I've ever experienced day to day on a phone here in the US, which is so impressive to me. Like, if you have not tried it or experienced it, this is the one thing that I advise you, if you're gonna pick it up, not just the cameras or anything else I've mentioned, the battery life and the charging on this device are not to be understated. Seriously, try it out. If you haven't, you're gonna try it and you're gonna be like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life? Because it really does just make your life easier. I think this is something that, you know, especially what we want from our smartphone experience day to day in these more modern times, especially when more people are making content and posting it on the internet. You need a device that's gonna last you all day, so you need it to be trustworthy battery-wise, and you need it to top up quick in quick situations if you need to. You just bring the fast charger with you, or any real fast charger with you, and you know that you're gonna top this up reliably quick. That, to me, is another pillar as to why this phone is top tier in 2024. I don't really see anybody who can contend me in that. If there is a way that you can contend me, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'm interested in a discussion with other people, so go ahead and leave that comment below. But as for me, this is another pillar as to why it is phone of the year for 2024. Next, we're gonna talk about gaming on the OnePlus 12. So, like I said, it's a no-brainer. This is one of the fastest feeling devices on the planet for its software and stability. So when it comes to gaming, they've actually upped it a notch. They have a gaming engine that you can change the frame rate of pretty much any game to interpolate to 120 hertz. There's all of these different flavors and things to do in those settings for you to game to your heart's content. They have optimized the cooling on this device, so it is like a gaming phone almost. So you're not only getting yourself a flagship, you're getting yourself an undercover gaming phone too, in a way. It doesn't have dedicated triggers. It doesn't come with a dedicated fan you can plug in. It doesn't have a side USB-C port and all these extra features that you get with a lot of these gaming devices, but for the most part, you have an undercover covert gaming device. And to top that all off, they have a dedicated chip called the Pixelworks X7 in this device to help aid in gaming. Not only do they have the Trinity engine to get all the layers of hardware and software working together in unison, they've given you another chip in this device to help optimize your gaming experience. So if you love gaming, you can do it. I'll post up footage of me playing Fortnite on this bad boy, no problem. I enjoyed my experience playing Fortnite on this, actually. It's really impressive to me. You can play Call of Duty, you can play Genshin Impact, you can play any of the new titles that are out there. I have not tested out every single game on this, of course, because I myself am not a big personal gamer, but I have played even Doodle Jump on this bad boy, or Subway Surfers, and those games are a little bit older, and they still feel like they were optimized day one for this OnePlus 12. So the gaming experience on the OnePlus 12 is just amazing, immaculate even, along with the software and stability. This gaming is so impressive to me that I am confident in saying that it is one of the best devices in 2024 to use for gaming if you don't want to break the bank on top of it. So you don't need to buy an older flagship, you don't need to buy a new flagship. Go ahead and get yourself a OnePlus 12 and you are going to be happy that you decided to pick it up. It is so impressive to me that it can do all that it can do for the price. Again, I keep hounding on that price, but it really is impressive for what you get for what you pay, especially in the gaming department. So if you are a gamer, or even if you're not, even if you're a light gamer, I think you would be genuinely impressed with the gaming on the OnePlus 12 and its experience as a whole. So that is another pillar as to why I think it's top contender for phone of the year 2024. So all in all, that is why the OnePlus 12 is my phone of the year for 2024. I know a lot of people out there may contest me, and if there is a device that you feel is a better device to be in that spot for phone of the year, you can go ahead and comment that below. We can have a discussion about it. But for me personally, when you take everything into consideration from its build quality all the way down to its processing and gaming and its cameras, the whole package with charging, it is phone of the year, no contest for me in 2024, going even in 2025. I think it's going to do some damage against these Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 devices still, and it's going to hold up. It's no slouch in majority of its departments, and that is why I think it is phone of the year. Plain and simple. You can take that with a grain of salt from me, and you're more than welcome to challenge me in the comments, but I believe that it really is phone of the year. So that's it for the video, guys. If you really liked it, go ahead and hit the like button. If you disliked it, go ahead and hit the dislike button. If you really liked it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get more content from me. And as always, I'm Megan the Tech Guy, and I am out. Peace.